You're listening to Handcuffs and Sage.
We're three badass moms bringing you all the true crime and paranormal your heart desires.
I'm Red.
I'm Timo.
I'm Dre. And don't let your kids listen. Seriously, just don't.
Hey, it's Handcuffs and Sage.
Woohoo! Hey guys.
Here it is. I'm Red.
Hey, I'm Timo.
Hey, I'm Dre.
Oh my goodness. Where are we?
This feels
We're
so
in a
good.
magical land. We are not recording in a shitty room in Los Angeles today. Nope, we're in Glow House. Thank you. Hi, Warren. Hi.
We're back in the studio. We're so excited.
Yes.
And it's a down the rabbit hole.
We love Down the Rabbit Hole. These are always a fun adventure. We've been working on this Netflix series, Surviving Death, for a while.
Right.
Each episode is new and unique, and I really think that they're interesting. Each topic is really super interesting to me. Some of it is very emotional.
Oh, yeah.
But this episode is really interesting because it has to do with stuff that I think we would like to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someday.
Sure.
This is like my jam, especially with the opening girl that comes on.
Mm-hmm.
We love Mariah.
Yeah, Mariah's cool.
All right, so follow along with us, you guys. Check out this series. Of course, they do a way better job than we do, but we like to talk about this subject. So this is part 5, Seeing Dead People.
Yeah.
And we're going to start off in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I see something in New York City, I always think, I'm going to go there someday,
I know.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Someday. Okay, so we started in New York City, and we meet Mariah, and she's a paranormal investigator. What? Tell us, Timo, what's a paranormal investigator?
Well, she goes to haunted locations, and she brings all these really cool things with her. Something that
gadgets.
I had never seen before, which I think is so brilliant. So she's putting out, her toys. And she has the EVP and the, digital recorder and all that. But she has these 2 little cat toys, and they're these little light up balls that if you touch them, they kind of light up. And that's just a brilliant idea because it's barely the slightest touch and it will light. We usually do that with flashlights. So you'll put the flashlight and you can barely push the button and it will turn on, and you can ask the spirits to touch it and their energy will turn it on and off. But I love it.
I said the cat toys. I'm like, I have never heard anyone mention cat toys
Never,
before.
never.
So Mariah is obviously a professional.
Yeah, so she's batting them around on the bed. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I've never
Smart.
seen that before. And they're like all like disco balls. And she's like, yeah, cat toys. I'm like, Mariah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mariah. So
Yeah.
we meet Mariah. She talks about as a child, she's very curious about the paranormal, right? This is kind of where this all started.
Right.
She actually investigates on the weekends. So she has a normal job. She's a normal human being. But on the weekends, this is like her passion, her hobby, where she goes to these different locations. And we see pictures of her all over.
All over. Like
Right.
Good
everywhere
places.
I want to go.
All the
Yes.
good places.
Yeah.
Mariah has been there.
Taking notes. Okay, we're going here, we're going here, we're going here.
I don't think Mariah
take
is a
us with
mom.
you.
And I don't think
I
Mariah
don't.
has a husband
I don't.
either because, I don't think we could do it as quickly
No.
as like back to back that she does.
Yeah.
But all the places she went to was awesome.
Yes. And I really do love her energy. And I like the approach that she has with it because I don't see this too much where she says this work is very sacred, right? This is about them. She starts off with saying a prayer in the beginning. I had never seen
I've never seen that before either. I was kind of like, what is she saying? I'm like, what is this about? But as I thought about it and listened to her, I'm like, it really makes sense because she's not there to provoke. She's not there to make them feel uncomfortable, to have anything bad happen. She just wants to say like, hey, I'm here. I just want to, I want to, talk with you. I want to see your presence somehow.
Yeah.
And that's all I want.
So I dig this energy that she has going on. I love the approach that she's having with it. Of course, in the cat toys. So she's just killing the game here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so then we see Deborah Blum, and she is a bigwig at MIT, and I think she kind of does psychology, paranormal teachings, I think, in a way. And she said that as long as there have been human civilizations, there have been reports of ghosts and encounters, which is so true, because if you study paranormal, it just goes back and back and back, even like stone drawings and carvings and stuff.
Right. And the connecting with ancestors, I think, is huge too, that you,
Yeah.
you see that has been going on forever.
Right.
Sorry.
And then she said that, you live this life, it's so full of energy, and you have so much purpose and love and hopes and dreams. And then when you die, what happens? Like, does it just all disappear?
Right.
And that's the big question that this series is talking about,
Well, I
too.
think we all know it happens.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You grow wings,
You grow
you
wings.
fly away. And that's the end of the episode. So
And then,
thanks
you,
for-
and then you sit on the cloud and eat grapes
and
and,
you watch
play the harp.
everybody and
Yeah.
judge them.
yes, judging so hard.
So basically, she just says, like, the body disappears, but the energy doesn't. But
Right.
where does it go? Like, how and where and all that good stuff. So then she talks also about what we talked about last time with interactions. So you can have the voice, you can have the touch, you can have the vision. And then she says something funny. She's like, well, who wants to see a ghost? I would never want to see a ghost. And I'm like, I do. I did once a long time ago, and I want to see it again. But now I think, really, I might get really scared. Like, I don't know.
I think it would be. I think it's fun to say I would like
Yeah.
to see a ghost, but if I actually saw a ghost in front of me, I'd piss myself. I would cry. I would need therapy forever.
Right.
I would be terrified.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've seen so many now at this point.
And she's
I'm
fine.
like,
Look.
I'm good.
No effect at all on this one.
I don't understand.
So in this episode, it kind of jumps back and forth. So it goes, to Mariah, and then we start seeing a lot of clips of older people, which we come to find out we meet a gentleman, and we'll introduce him in a bit. But
He's a cool dude. I like the way he came into where he's doing all of this now, right?
Right.
Kind of started off. He has a scientific mind. He's a doctor, right? And the way they look at things is black and white, right? They're not thinking about the afterlife. But through time, that changes for him.
Right.
Right. And I think he's a really cool cat.
and he's a mobile hospice doctor.
Yeah.
So it's people that are in hospice but choose to be at home, and then he travels and does his appointments with them, and he actually sits and kind of interviews them about, oh my god, you guys, I'm totally getting chills.
I know. It's that extra piece that he
Yeah.
does that most hospice doctors don't even touch.
because they don't want to hear it.
Yeah, and he acknowledges
Yeah,
it. And that's just like,
Oh, it's beautiful.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
what people need. People need support. They're in hospice care. This is the end of their life.
Right.
And they need love and support, obviously. And there's a lot of things that happen with a lot of people in this stage.
Yeah, it's called deathbed apparitions,
Yeah.
and it's just the process of dying. And it could be where you see your loved ones that have already passed years and years and years, and they're just kind of there to guide you across.
Yes.
And
And I guess this happens quite a bit,
quite a bit.
more than people talk about. So we meet an older woman on the show, and I love her, and she's talking about how
She's so cute.
she is so cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if everyone knows, but I love old people. I love them.
It's
I
so
think
funny.
everything they do
as I'm
is
writing my
perfect
notes,
and
older
beautiful.
woman, I'm like, oh, this is
Oh
totally
yeah,
Red's
because
jam.
she is.
I love them.
She's
I love
so
them.
cute. I mean, yeah,
She's
she's so
adorable.
cute.
So she's talking about her brother Ronnie. Oh, and the way she says Ronnie, oh my gosh. He comes to her and she says, "What are you doing here?" Oh my God. And this happens around 2, 3 in the morning, which we know.
Right,
A lot
it's
of
the
activity
witching hour,
tends to
yeah.
happen during that time. And then she says that she sees her mother and her father, and they're looking really good.
Right.
A lot of people tend to think that when you pass, you go back to a time in your body at your peak.
Right.
Right.
So I guess 12 for me. That's where I peaked.
And if you're ill, or if you say you're paralyzed where you're not walking, I've seen stuff on TV where the medium's like, he wants to let you know he's walking, he's
Yeah.
running, he's jumping,
Right.
and he had no legs before he passed away.
That you're
Yeah.
made whole. You were made
Yes.
whole completely,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful thought. I love that. So she just says that she has this experience. She sees her brother and her mother and father, and they're looking fabulous. And that they let her know that they're there because they're going to help her come to the other side. They're going to get her ready for that. And geez, just knowing that you have loved ones who are, I mean, I think with us always, but then to be able to see them and have them reassure you, we're here during this process.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I really do.
And then he's like, well, how was it? Like, tell me how it was. And she's like, it was heaven on earth.
I love it.
And I love it. I love how she said that. It was so sweet.
I'm really going to try not to cry.
Oh, no.
Damn. Okay. All right. Let's work on pulling it together. Okay. So what is parapsychology? We've talked about parapsychology before.
Yeah,
but
I wish I
think
would have went in that field.
You should have.
I
It
should
would
have. I don't know. I was going to
super
be
your
that
jam.
or a mortician. I should have did that as well, but
I don't know how to tell you
Maybe
this.
in the next
There's
life.
still time.
I know.
You can
I
do
know.
anything you want.
I know. So parapsychology is the science and the study of anything that is paranormal, psychic phenomenon, anything that we can claim as supernatural, something that's not natural or normal to us.
Right. Just not proven scientifically.
Exactly, right.
Okay. So that is a fun field. There's a lot of things that you can look at with
And
parapsychology.
they also kind of throw in there like different types of hauntings, and I've done this I've said this a million times too. You can have the residual, which is just like a tape recorder that kind of just records in the walls of the area of, someone laughing or having a good time, or, just walking the hallway like they do on an everyday basis. And then years later, it just plays over and over again. They don't know you're there. You can see them. They don't care about you. They will not interact with you. It's just kind of like watching a movie. It's still scary, but it's kind of just watching a movie. And then you have your intelligent hauntings where those are interactive spirits. Those spirits know who you are. You can have a conversation with them. They can do things, touch, speak to you, and that can kind of get out of control.
That can
This
get out of
blows
Yeah.
my mind. So I told you guys about the woman that tried to commit suicide in my old apartment.
Right.
Yes.
Right? So definitely when you describe residual, I see this tape recording. I see it like it's a repeat every night, the same thing. Like she walks into the bathroom and tries to commit suicide. But then, that was my experience. But then my brother-in-law, he had a different experience where it was more intelligent, where she was, I mean, that's the only thing I can explain, because then she interacted with him, which we didn't ever get, but she was upset. She was upset, and she locked him in the bathroom.
I remember that story, and I got chills.
Yeah.
So is that possible? How does
yeah.
that? It's just so weird that it would be like residual for one person and nothing ever
a
happens.
great question.
And then all of a sudden, like there's this other energy coming in, and he just must have pissed her off or something because she was.
Well, we don't know what the reason was that she was trying to kill herself, too. I mean, it could have been a breakup with a boyfriend, and your brother maybe reminded her of him. And she's like, oh, motherfucker, and then, closes the door. So we don't know that.
Motherfucker, and then close the door on him. I think these are all really great questions, right? Can they be both?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we see Mariah go to this really cool old-looking place. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
It's the Morris Jumel Mansion. This is in Washington Heights, New York City. I'd like to go to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, how about that?
This
Every
is like
time.
old. Yeah, this is old New York. This
Yeah.
is an old mansion.
So
pretty.
old.
Yes.
It's so pretty.
Built in
Okay.
1765. Like
Yeah.
it's old.
Almost as old as my haunted blanket.
Oh.
Actually, that's older. Okay, so Mariah likes to go to this location every month.
Every month she goes. Yes.
She goes. They know her. It's great. And she says that she gets this with spirits every time that she has something happen. Right.
I believe that because this is, the home is almost 400 years old or almost going on 400 years old. And the amount of people in and out people that lived there, historic people that have lived there, historic people that came and go. Of course, I think the older it is, that's why there's so many hauntings in Europe, because civilization was so much longer than us here in the Americas. So, of course, there's going to be a lot more hauntings than
I think that this place is super unique also because they had a lot of like celebrities from
Yes.
the time, the big names back in the 70s.
know they were
Oh my
dropping
God.
names on
They
that
were
one.
name dropping, dude.
Yes, we have Washington, Jefferson, Hamilton, and Aaron Burr have all stayed at this location.
Yeah, well, Aaron Burr actually lived there, and he has his room.
He has
So it's like
his
the
own room.
Aaron Burr room.
Yeah, that would be a trip.
Ugh.
I would dig it. I
Yeah.
would be into
That's where we're
it.
staying.
So they're saying that these hauntings actually go back to the 1800s, right? A lot of stuff that's happening. So neighbors will see things like happening in the window from the other house.
At like 3 in the morning.
Someone
Yeah.
there is somebody staying there. So that's a trip. That's
Yeah, that's spooky.
not
That-
even someone
When no one's even
inside.
there. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh, I got chills. So they see lights, hear voices, things like that.
Right.
Right.
And then they bring in Christopher Davalos. He's kind of like the overseer of the house. And he's kind of like her investigating buddy.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's telling, like, the neighbors will call me at 3 a.m. and say, we're seeing people over there. Like, who's over there? Nobody's over there. Nobody should be over there. Like, what the hell? Like,
Probably
it's
just
Aaron
a
Burr.
burglar.
Yeah.
It's like
Someone's
no
robbing
surprise
the
to
place.
him. You know?
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
like, I'm not even going to bother.
Yeah, right?
Because
Yeah.
I already know.
And they hear disembodied voices too. I think that's kind of spooky because you don't know who is talking to you. And that's definitely more, I think, of an intellectual, like intellectual haunting where they're trying to get your attention by talking. And yeah.
Yes, I think this is great. So she's going to do an investigation. She brings flowers.
Every time. I
She's such a sweetheart. You know this is like a passion for her.
It's a
you know?
passion
It's-
for sure.
Yeah. And she's doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Dude, I just love Mariah. So she has a noise machine, right? She has stuff that's also tracking the static electricity.
Right. So it's kind of like a spirit box. So a spirit box kind of brings in all the different radio frequencies, and spirits are said that they can easily manipulate all those different frequencies where you can actually hear them speak. But what she does is she just has a white noise machine, which is
Right.
just kind of like staticky a little bit, but it works the same too. And I'm pretty sure it's a lot less money as well. So, which is, I'm just loving Mariah more and
It
more
works.
with
And
her
it's
thing. Yeah.
cheap. Thank you, Mariah, for the tip. Write that down.
Right.
Okay, so the device that she's using is showing some kind of presence, something going on. She's asking, really basic, calming questions like who's here, do you have things to tell us, that kind of thing. She also does a thing with the water, and you've mentioned that before, that can be a great conduit.
It's a
right?
conduit. But if you don't have money to buy a, spirit box or even a white noise machine,
Right.
the sound of running water kind of works the same way.
yeah.
Plus, it's a conduit, so it's kind of bringing them to you. Brilliant.
2 for 1.
Brilliant. Yeah. So they're in
Guess
this
you're killing the
old-fashioned
game.
bathroom, right? So they're sitting there. They have the water running, and there's some crazy stuff that happens.
Okay, so like we were saying, that this is not a science, right? So they're talking throughout this investigation. It's not direct evidence, right? But you can obviously feel like something else is happening that we don't understand,
Right.
Right? So we see that a lot, right? So they do the bathroom, they're doing the EVPs. And when they're doing the EVPs, right? So what you hear is Mariah asking the questions and giving time. But you can't hear those responses until you listen to the recording.
Right. So electronic voice phenomenon is something that is recorded. You don't hear it with your ear. That's a disembodied voice. So disembodied voice is something that you hear with your ear, and EVP is the recording. So they're answering you, you don't hear them, and then when you play back your recording, you hear them answering you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've heard thousands and thousands of these from all different shows and everything that I've caught. I want to say since we've been doing this for 1.5 years now, I think I've caught 3 EVPs on our recordings.
Right.
That I cannot explain. Like the dogs will bark or the babies will, come in and whatever. Stuff like that, I could be like, oh, I know what that is.
Right.
No, there are times when I've heard stuff and I'm like, what the hell was that? And I've had to play it over and over again. I'm like, Oh
That's
my
a
God. We
trip.
caught an EVP. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
we
when
have
you're
ghosts.
recording for this
So
many
wild.
hours,
It's so
you're gonna
crazy.
find it.
You
Yeah.
hear it go saying, check 1, 2, check 1, 2.
Just a couple episodes ago, I was talking about something and this like demon voice like over, and I could not cut it out
Oh, I
because
know.
it was a part that we needed in there. So if you heard that episode and you heard me talking and then do this really weird
Like a growl.
demon growl, that was
She's
not
the devil.
me.
Yeah.
She's a demon.
That was not me.
Your secret is out.
Oh God.
Okay, so she's talking. She's trying to get some feedback. Who's there with her? When she listens to the recording, we hear Aaron Burr.
Yes.
Aaron Burr showed up to the party
What?
for the Netflix special.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
that's
say
wild.
Netflix, I'm here, y'all. It's Aaron Burr. They set up equipment, different places in the house, but they also are able to pick up what sounds like footsteps on hard wood
Yes.
floor, but it's carpeted.
Yes.
Explain that.
Okay.
one.
That I think is residual.
Right.
Because he must have walked that
Yes.
space in his room a million times with his boots on. So
Having
that's
deep thoughts. Aaron Burr's having deep thoughts, and it's there forever.
right.
The rest of the time.
So yeah, so that I think that's more of a residual. But they didn't hear that. Were they hearing that with their ear, or was it was just the EVP,
It was just
right?
the EVP.
Yep.
Mhm.
So that I'm not sure. I'm not sure because
This is just like, I'm here.
You need
Yeah.
to message
Here.
us. We'll talk about it
I
on the
think
podcast.
that might have been more of intelligent right there.
Yeah, yeah. And
are
then
great
they
questions.
had asked right before the footsteps during that recording. They said, "Is there anything that you want to tell us? Now is your chance." You know, because at this point they're up in his room. They left his restroom, and what was really cool was that they have this like little thing that has like these little bars on it, and then they light up in different colors.
Yes.
Right. And so they say too, like, "Can you do that again?"
Yeah.
And then they do it again,
does it
and they're like,
again.
"Thank you."
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know.
You know, it's so cool, but. They had asked, like, what else do you want to say? And, I mean, he must have been thinking about it because he's just pacing back and forth. That's all we got.
He was having deep thoughts about what to
He's
say.
like, I have too much to say. I'm not going to
I'm
open
not
up
even
today.
going to start.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
wild. Yeah, it was crazy.
So I love that she does make these statements, like connecting with the other side is a miracle, right? Doing what she does is a beautiful thing that she's doing. They're invisible to us, but this brings them out, and then it's visible to her and to others who do this. I would love to do this at least once in my life. Have an investigation where we have to stay up all night and coffee and like get scared and have all these
Of course.
recordings to share.
I think once
I would love it.
I had plans of us doing this before COVID happened.
Right.
Before Ramona.
We're getting towards, the end of this tunnel, and hopefully we can, start setting stuff up where we can go and do this.
I love the positivity, Shima. That's great. That is great. Okay, so we're going to go back to history here and how this has been going on, people having these experiences forever. And they talk
Right.
about how you could find this in ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Egypt with drawings and things like that.
The tombs, the Book of the Dead, which is a real famous, historic document of just stories and things that
Yep.
happened in the Egyptian times that they found buried in these tombs, which is
What a
that's a whole
trip.
other story.
amazing.
Is all
Yeah.
that stuff because that's wild as well.
So we're talking about at the end of life, right? You're going through a stage. A lot of people, maybe in hospice, they're saying like 95% of people in this situation have family and friends that come to them, right?
Wild. What? That's such a high percentage to me. So 5% is your ghost hunters that are going out and actually having the experiences with the different spirits wherever.
Right.
The 95% of sightings are just regular people like us that are seeing their loved ones.
Yeah, that have just passed.
Yes.
They say that it's usually that they've just passed and then you see them, right? So that's a trip to me. So then we meet William James. He had psychology and he was doing cyclical research, right? That was his jam.
Oh, yeah.
That was his jam. So the founder of ASPR. So they compiled evidence of connections with spirits, right? The reason why he was so into this is because he had lost a toddler, right? Which made him look into the paranormal, and he wanted, of course, to see a connection. He wanted to feel that he knew what happened to this child that passed. I understand that, and a lot of people understand that, right? When we have a loved one that passes. So we're talking about photography now. We're going to do this shift.
It goes right back to these damn pictures.
I think they're really, really fun to look at.
They're fun to look at, yeah. They're just...
Somebody took the time to make them, Timo. We can appreciate their art and their hard work.
So I bought this book recently, and it has nothing to do with paranormal. It's the Witch's Almanac, and it's for 2021 to 2022 for the spring, whatever. And I'm just kind of looking through it, and at the very end, something catches my eye, and I'm like, what is this? Because I see ectoplasm. I'm like, what? What's going on? And it's a little recipe on how to actually make ectoplasm. So I'm like, I took the picture and I sent it on our little group chat. I'm like, guys, check this out. It's so hilarious.
Blows my mind. And here's a little recipe for you to doctor something up.
Right.
Yes,
I love it. I love it. I love it. So this spirit photography on camera, right? There's a history of this, people doctoring these photos, which was really interesting that they would take maybe pictures from newspapers, and they were able to use it to then imprint on other pictures to make it look like somebody's behind them. Very creative.
Very creative, but so bad looking to me. But if you got to think about back then, photography was new to everybody. So who knew? Be like, that's fake. You have no clue.
Oh.
Yeah, you have no clue. You're like, oh my God.
People were just running with that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
They had a great time. They didn't have Netflix and shows to binge, so they had to doctor photos.
I love it.
I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
So when we're trying to confirm an actual spirit photograph, a witness tends to be involved, right? It's not just somebody saying this happened, right? If you have a witness, okay, that gives it some credibility, and I love that. So then we meet John Huckert. Oh my goodness! So he moves into this really beautiful home in this beautiful area. It has some good forest vibes to it, right? Kind of dig it. He moves in there in the late 80s, and he said that actually he felt a weird energy in the house. I don't know if you guys have ever lived in a home or have felt weird energies in homes. I definitely have.
I haven't, unfortunately.
Have you ever felt a negative energy going to a location, somewhere where you're something's off?
Okay, I don't know if it's still there or not, but in downtown Newhall, there is, they have a lot of office buildings that are kind of Victorian style.
Yes.
But where I think it's eggs and things or something right there. There's
Egg plantation?
Maybe. Yeah, there's a hairdresser, and then there was a little boutique right there, and I don't think the boutique's there anymore, but I had gone to a little wine tasting, jewelry kind of party thing, and I noticed in this one part of the store there was a huge square cut out of the roof, and I think maybe it had a pull down ladder, so it was kind of like an attic space, but it was wide open. And I walked by there, and I kept on feeling like someone was looking down at me every time I walked. I just had this feeling so then I went and talked to the owner of the boutique, and she said, oh yeah, there's a little girl up there that is up there.
Oh, I got the
I know.
chills. No.
So I don't know. So I've been in places where definitely I've yes, but not lived anywhere in my home where I had that experience.
Yeah.
I have a weird energy in my office space at my home where we used to record.
Yeah.
I've had the chair make sounds, when I go in that room, I go, ugh, right? And it's not because it's my work room. It's because there's something about it that I am not digging in there. Who knows? That's, we
Have
all
you ever saged in there before?
My daughter has.
Okay.
And then we had this whole sage conversation about using blue sage, how that's the one I should be using.
Right. And I just learned something new about smudging, how we shouldn't be smudging. and I have to look into it because I'm not exactly sure what smudging, the difference between smudging and saging is. I think they correlate with each other, but smudging is dedicated just to the indigenous people.
Okay.
And it's almost like a disrespect.
Okay.
So I'm going to learn that.
Learn something new every day.
I follow a lot of like witches on TikTok, and I've been learning a lot of stuff from different people. And I just learned that from one of the girls that I follow on TikTok.
Thank you, TikTok. We're learning so much.
Yes.
Just every day. So much recipes,
Where
dances.
She was just mortified when she learned that because she'd been doing it so much, and she says, I have all this sage I don't know what to do with. And she ends up giving it back to the earth wherever she, like if she's out and she takes a rock or plant or whatever, she'll leave a sage there. So she's giving back.
She's working that situation.
She's doing that
out.
balancing.
She's doing it in the right way.
So I'm going to look into that, and I'll let you guys know.
So John is living in this home. He's got this bad energy feeling going on. He says that his hair will stand up, right? We've all had that moment. And then he felt like his body, like almost like would feel sunburned.
That's interesting. I've never heard that
I've never heard
before.
that either.
Yeah.
I think we should have checked for maybe gases, carbon.
Maybe.
Okay, so
But we're in Los Angeles, and we're up in the Hollywood Hills.
yes.
Right.
A lot of shit has happened up in the Hollywood Hills. Doesn't
What?
matter where you are, it's bananas up
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
There's a whole history of
serial
lots of fun
killers
times.
and
Lots of,
a lot of serial killers everywhere in that place. Easy dumping
Right.
place.
That's exactly where my mind goes.
Yeah. Easy.
That's where
yeah.
you would dump a body, right?
For sure.
Or
That-
just-
she actually told me that one. So, like, for sure. Hello. Okay.
Or just like random people maybe driving and crashing.
Yeah, it's
Because
so
there's
curvy
the
and stuff
windy
up there,
roads and
yeah.
all that. Yeah, that's trauma.
it's a place.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. So he says that in 91, for Christmas, he gets a Polaroid camera, which I love.
Yes.
Because a Polaroid camera was like, oh, I'm the shit. I'm getting all these really expensive pictures, that look like shit. It's so exciting.
Oh, I love them.
Love the Polaroid pictures. I used to put my Polaroids on my mirror, and it would like cover my mirror, me and my friends at school.
Oh, I love them.
Well, we have
Such a
Polaroids now, but they're not as cool as they were back in the day because they're these teeny tiny little things like this.
Little baby Polaroid.
They were huge, and then they had that big white spot at the bottom where you could like make a little notation of love it.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get some. Okay, so he gets this Polaroid camera, and he says that the situation with the bathroom door is interesting, right? That it opened or closed with ease. And he said that with this door, you actually couldn't do that.
Right.
So obviously they do not open this door anymore because he had to lift a rug up,
Right.
and then he's like, "Look." And you have this huge scrape mark in the hardwood
Right.
from the door opening and closing when anyone walked in and out. So it's not
Closing
I'm totally getting chills again.
with a breeze.
You can't. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone has to force that sucker, and that happened in front of their eyes. Like they're like, "What?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's unexplainable.
And yes. Okay, so he decides to take a picture with his Polaroid, right? This weird thing happens with the door. Let's take a Polaroid picture. He does that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. He's looking at this picture, and I get chills because
I have seen so many shows of this, and I didn't know what they were talking about at first. And then when I saw that picture, I'm like, oh my God, this is that story. I've seen this picture a million times.
it's a trip.
Wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's looking at this picture, and there's an obvious light in this picture, and not like, oh, you took it.
It's not a reflection.
Right, and it's not like a bad picture, right?
It's like a foggy shape.
With almost like a firework look to it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
I don't
crazy.
think I'm explaining this right, and I apologize, but it really is a trip to see this picture. And he thinks that his dad has played a prank on
Yeah,
him.
he's like, ha ha ha, Dad gave me the camera. Good one, Dad.
I think there's ghosts in this house now, right? He doesn't know what to think looking at this photo, which I dig. So then his friend comes over.
John Matowski.
Right, and so they're just hanging out. They're being all young and stuff, and we're going to get crazy with some Polaroid pictures.
Well, he's like, hey, look at this, dude. Look at this. He's like, wow, cool. How'd you do this?
Yeah.
Not even thinking that they were real pictures.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And he's
love
like,
it.
no, dude. Like, let's put a whole new
I need
roll
you
of film
to
in.
check this shit out.
Yeah. So he's like, if my dad is doing this, then I bought a brand new roll of film. We're going to use that film.
Yes.
And the shit that they come up with is friggin' wild.
It's
I love it.
so fun how this thing kind of takes off where people then start coming over to take pictures to see what they can capture.
They have like Polaroid taking
They have Polaroid
parties.
So funny.
parties.
I know.
And people go to town to see what they can pick up. So they're
Right.
having fun with this situation. So these, again, don't look like there's something that's been messed up in the photo. That's not what we're looking at here. It looks like you're seeing some kind of phenomenon, some kind of electrical phenomenon, I guess.
It's not even in the front of the bathroom anymore. They're taking pictures
Right.
everywhere else, and they're coming up in front of different people.
Yeah.
It's not just in front of him either.
It's so funny to see the group pictures where they're like hugging each other, and it just seems like there's like
Yes. Hey, we're here too.
Yeah.
pieces of,
That's
you know.
that's crazy.
It's just bananas.
So they take it to the next level.
Oh, yeah. I
Where
love
they
this.
start asking questions and then taking a picture to see if they get a response, which I think is so fun.
I want to do this so bad, but I'm still kind of skeptical at this point.
Yeah. I actually feel like I may have like a scientific
Oh no, don't ruin it.
explanation. Yeah.
No. Okay.
see.
I want to
Yeah.
hear. I want to hear your explanation. So they start asking questions, right?
Right.
So one of the questions: are you here? Right. Very basic. Good start. Good start. They take a picture and it says yes and lights.
But it's like smoky lights.
Yeah, like someone hit something real hard, blew it out, and went woo,
Yeah.
and then took a picture.
Yeah.
It's fun though to see.
It's fun.
Okay. All right. So then they're asking questions like, "What's your name?" Right? And then we see that the word "right." So it's WRIGHT is in this light, as if that's the name of
Right.
who they're communicating
Right.
with, right? So they're feeling like they're having interactions through these photos and with answers, and they're having fun with it, which I really dig. So they go to the Hall of Records, right, to see if they can find a right. And this is what a lot of people do when they have hauntings.
Right.
They
Of
want
course.
to
If
see
you
what.
don't, if you don't know the history,
Figure it out.
I just think that's so fun that you can just go and you can find it out. I just love that. It's
Yeah.
like ancestry.com with our family. You can go. Yeah.
It's fun. It's a good time. So they go to do their homework here at Hall of Records. You know, they're looking for a right. They don't really find somebody that's matching it though for this location, this residence. So we don't know if this is the person. They said that there was like 4 different people with that name,
That had like a connection to the
right?
family.
But not
that was
really there. So I don't know. Kind of
So-
iffy.
I did a deep dive on this because I wanted to know more because they tell us on the show that they took hundreds and hundreds of these
Thousands.
with answers, but they really don't tell us that much. They show us. The next one is, are you a good ghost or a bad ghost? And it says friend.
Right.
And then I think that's it. There was another one that was kind of, I think it was a phrase in Latin, right?
Oh, there was, but there was like
Yeah.
a "Why are you here?" and it said, "I am here for you."
Right.
But then there was like a Latin phrase. It
Yeah,
said, like,
I couldn't find that.
Just something. I
Yeah.
don't know, like
It was something in Latin,
and
I
then
think.
like apply the or. I was really having a hard time even like figuring it out, but it didn't seem like it was in English anymore.
That's spooky to me. Oh, let me tell you these other ones I got, because these are not as spooky as that. So there was like, I'm here for you. We saw that. There's one that says anything is possible.
Very motivational ghost.
Listen,
Very positive things.
listen and you will hear. Okay. Open your mind and open your heart. And then it was like genius, low or something to that effect. And it was in Latin, which scares me because we know. Did you hear that little squeaky I made with my mouth?
Nobody heard it.
Not at all.
When we talk about exorcisms, it's originally written in Latin. Sometimes the priests do speak in Latin.
Really
of course,
gave me the
in
freaking
Rome,
chills.
in the
The
Vatican.
heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. I'm sure in Rome and in the Vatican City, when they are actually doing, and they do those still to this day, I'm sure they say them in Latin. I'm sure they do. They have to.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I'm like, that's Latin. I was kind of like, oh. But like I just told you guys right now, like, hey, the exorcisms, they could be in Latin. I mean, it's easy to know
There
that.
was a word that, like, now that you say it, and it says, like, it was Moriar.
Which I think is
Like
like dead.
death, right?
I think it's death or dead in Latin.
And something that I thought of also is back at this time, I mean, still in the 80s, 90s, you could take Latin in high school.
Oh, I took it in junior high school in
There you
Glendale.
go. So
I took 2 years of Latin. I think I passed with a D because it was absolutely horrible.
unacceptable. We'll talk about this after the podcast.
I did it because I wanted to be cool like all the other girls in my class.
Did it work?
No.
Oh, no.
I should have taken Spanish. So
Latin!
dumb. Yeah, so dumb. So dumb. I don't even know why they did that, but that was a long time ago, y'all.
I think
Long
Mariah
time.
needs to go to this home in LA.
Yes.
Mariah, if you're listening.
Let's pull it together.
Yes.
Come on. And go do the EVP there
Yep.
and see what's really going on.
I think this is just a fun situation.
Yeah.
People had fun with this, and that's all I care about.
Yeah.
So whatever. So they say, yeah, you're right. 12,000 pictures have been taken in this home.
Can you
Right.
imagine?
Okay, I have that written down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about how much that film cost.
It was
In
expensive.
today's money, it's $2 billion.
Yes.
So this is what drives me nuts. So when they're taking these pictures with the Polaroid cameras, they are using Polaroid spectra film. It's this very
That
special
was the special film.
film. Can you get it now?
Oh,
No.
no, you can't. They stopped making it even with him in a few
Right,
years after
yeah.
he started doing this. They
And he
stopped
said
making...
that there was something about this spectra film that was able to bring spirits and ghosts.
How convenient.
Some kind of chemical
Yeah,
conduit.
I don't know.
something.
He has to show up to the next party and goes, "You guys, I have terrible news. They're out of the film. It's over."
It's over. So when I did my deep dive, if you Google ghostwriter, that's how you can find just
Okay.
everything. And then my lovey-dovey Mr. Peter James, the medium that I absolutely adore, spoke about him a couple episodes back. Didn't realize I was speaking about him in the present tense. He passed away in 93, 94, I think it was. But he's the medium that has the white hair and then the dark eyebrows and the dark mustache. But they even have a picture of him in there.
Yeah.
So he went to that house and he actually did. So I'm kind of like, now I'm like, is it real? Is it not real?
Just have an open
Yeah.
mind.
I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe this is a real experience, but he like tried to like capitalize on it and make some money. Like, you know how Polaroid film, like it pulls up from the bottom? Like what happens to it, and this is just me talking out of my ass right now, but what happens if you write on there, like you're not supposed to really touch it or play
Sure.
with it, right? What if you were to write on
Right.
there before it was exposed, before you take that photo, and then that writing is just like superimposed on top of the picture? I think like that's a total possibility, and that's my theory.
And the
maybe-
way it's written, it almost looks like you're kind of fast doing like if they like
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, and unfortunately, we don't have that type of film to do our own experiment, because if we did just whatever
Yeah.
film, we still...
We need Mythbusters up in here.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll contact you, Mythbusters. Look for that email. It's coming. Okay, so, Leslie Keene, she's the one that's put this whole fun series together, and she's really great. So she's talking about that these apparitions come, right? That this is a real thing. She finds this really interesting, just like me. But they're called crisis apparitions, right? And that it's like the final blast before.
Yes.
Right.
It's kind of sad to say.
Yeah.
One last before done. Okay, so there's thousands of cases of this.
This story was wild.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
It's, yeah.
So I think it's back in like the 1800s. I'm pretty sure, where you went to the theater, you went to the opera. And this gentleman is sitting on the balcony with his friend. He looks down and he's like, oh shit, there's my brother. And he's like, I gotta go find my brother. And he's like, my brother. And his friend's like, I don't see him. Yeah. He's not there. Right. So he runs down and he's looking and looking and looking, and his brother's not anymore. His brother can't be found. And it was in the 19th century. So at that time, you couldn't call somebody. Right. You couldn't, your correspondence was by letter. Right. So he receives a letter. I'm sure maybe weeks after this happened. And at that same exact time that he saw his brother down from the balcony, he had died in China.
Yes. Yeah. He had passed. So they're saying that these things happen where immediately after the death, right, they can come to a family in front. I just get chills thinking about that.
Yeah.
Like my whole body is like...
I've heard many stories of that happening with children because they're less jaded. They can see more. They're more open to seeing that kind of stuff. And I've heard many stories where a child is told, grandma died last night, whatever. And then they're like, oh, I know they came last night to say goodbye to me.
With that. Yeah. We had this in one of the first, second episode where the little girl's like, yeah, I know, because she came to tell me. Yeah. You know?
She told me to be a good girl. And, it's just my grandma, like, whatever.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Gosh, I just love this stuff. I really do. So we hear this crazy story. So this husband and wife, they're asleep. Right.
Well, this is Deborah Bloom. So she's the MIT person. She's total skeptic.
Yes.
Until this happened.
Yes.
And she's like, I was a skeptic until my husband's story. So she starts talking about the story.
She has an amazing story, right? Yeah. And so it actually entails her father-in-law, who is a very serious person, right? Very black and white thinker, more data-driven. They have this really, really crazy experience where they're asleep at night, right? And then he wakes up and he says... my brother is calling me.
Oh, yeah. So this is her husband's father, right?
Okay, he had the experience. It was his cousin.
His cousin is calling me. He's outside. I need to go see him, right? And then they're listening and they don't hear anything, and it's just weird situation. And the wife is like, "Ain't gonna
losing your mind, babe."
Okay, go night night. Okay, they go back to sleep, right? Again. He's like, no, I hear him. I can hear him. He's out there. I want to go see him. So he goes outside. And nothing's there, right?
Yeah, and he's probably thinking at this time, he's like,
am I losing it?
Yeah,
am I losing my mind?
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
Do you guys ever find yourself outside because you heard your cousin?
No.
Okay, so think about this man who is a no-nonsense person doing this.
Exactly, right.
Yeah. Right? Sits, listens, doesn't hear anything. Okay, goes back to bed, all good. We wake up in the morning. He finds out that his cousin shot himself at that time. So here's the situation where, he killed himself and then came to him and he heard him and had this experience. So explain that to me. How do you explain that situation to me?
You don't, because he wasn't ill. It wasn't like you were expecting him to pass away. He chose to take his life that night. And that's wild.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So, right, we're seeing a lot of stories of seeing apparitions, people that they know love, to bring them over the other side. So a lot of things going on here. So this takes place in Buffalo, New York, with Kerr.
And this is the hospice doctor that we were talking about earlier. And now we're going to follow him, and this is so cool.
Yeah, so, hospice is a situation where they usually give you, like, a timeline.
Yeah,
right?
You got, 6 months left.
Right.
Where you could either choose not to continue with your treatment, or at this point, the doctors have done all they can do.
Right.
And it's sad. It's basically something where you just wait to die and they keep you comfortable.
Yes, it's about keeping the patient comfortable, right? So we meet Kerr. Chris has 2 dogs, Rags and wags. I just felt like that was important to share with everybody.
No,
I know.
So cute.
I don't like that.
I
don't
do.
like that.
Rags and
The
wags.
dogs are so confused.
Aw, no,
They
the
don't know
dogs
who's
are very
calling who.
happy.
I know.
They're very happy.
Which one? Which one are you calling?
I know.
Is that me? Every time
what?
you call one, baby, both look up. Like,
Yep, that's right.
So Chris has, 6 months or less to live on hospice. So this patient said that he saw his wife. He talks about seeing his wife, and she had passed away 8 years before. I just can't. I can't. And he said it was so good to see her.
Yeah, he's like, how was it? Oh, well, and he's just so matter of fact.
Yeah.
He's just like, it was so good to see her. Like,
I feel like when you're at the end of your life, that is probably one of the best things that you could experience. Like we all hope that. We all hope that if it's my time to go, that the people that I love are going to be there. And, when you're in that moment, sure.
So the doctor is talking about before he did the hospice, he worked in the hospital.
Yeah.
And he was skeptic at this point, and he was seeing a patient who was ill with HIV. This is probably back in the day when we didn't have all the medicine that we have now. And he told the nurse, hey, I think we can give this guy this treatment. I think we can extend his life. I think this is going to work for him.
Yes.
She's like, nope. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, he already saw his mama, and he is going to go soon.
And he's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of jump-started his whole belief and going into the hospice.
I love this.
She was so funny.
Yeah, the nurse was like, shut up and pay attention.
Yeah. Did they not teach you this?
Hello. This was chapter 9 of your medical textbook. That people will see their loved ones and that's it. They're going to die. Shut up and pay attention. Get that on a t-shirt, okay? All right, so we meet Susan. Susan is in hospice. She's dying. She says that at one point in her room, she sees that the curtains are like billowing. It's having this strange thing happening. And that her husband comes through. And she said that he comes through and he's smiling and he's so happy. And that it was like this beautiful experience for her.
This was a little bit different, though, because her husband's name is Gene. He comes over, and then her daughter, Cassie, who had recently just died, like that past year, as an adult. And they were there together. But I think it was more of a vision that she was seeing.
Yeah.
Like
she was awake.
She was awake, and she was seeing this vision, but I don't think they really interacted with her. I think they were just there kind of looking at her and smiling. And then they just turned around and walked away. They
did the peace sign, and then they left. So let's get the facts right for the story.
And she's like, it was just a beautiful scene. Like, they're all a matter of fact in a way.
Right.
It's so wild. Every single one of them.
I think if you're in that situation, you're ready. And
I think
that's
so.
really what it is you're ready and you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I
hope it's like that.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Right? We have this patient, Colette, where she's having one of these experiences where her father comes to her, and they had a very difficult relationship. This was not, an easy relationship for them. And she said that he came and he said he was proud of her.
I know, that's
this is the total opposite of what Susan had, because she's having a full-on conversation with her father. And this is almost like that guy in episode 2 that we talked about, where he had the near-death experience and he was in the ocean and he saw his father.
Yes.
Because him and his father didn't really have a relationship either.
And it was this healing moment.
Yeah.
Isn't that what this is all about? Like, we're sitting here to better ourselves and work on relationships, and maybe things like this at the end are important to hear that all is good.
And it's sad. I mean, her dad died when she was 22, so you can just imagine. I mean, when you're 22, we're all assholes at that age,
Yes,
right?
correct.
So whatever we went through in that time when we were young, of course, she probably was having a hard time with him. So
and it was a way back when, too,
Yes.
where times was different.
Times were different.
So by 22, you were married with like 5 kids already.
Yeah.
Like you were planning your retirement.
You know what I love about this is when he walks in to talk to her, he's like, so she looks so good. she's on hospice. And he's like, I heard you're failing to comply with hospice. Like,
I heard
you're
you.
not dying.
I'm like, he's not. Is she in hospice? She looked so great.
She looked
Right.
great.
She looked better than me.
She looked
Right.
amazing.
Half the time,
And
yeah.
I think like maybe when you have this diagnosis, you know, we didn't know what her diagnosis was, but they can't tell you you only have 6 months and you're supposed to die in that time frame. Sometimes it's longer.
Well, he's
You
like,
know?
you look really good. And she's like, yeah, my doctor said it's like this and then this.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So,
whatever her diagnosis was, it's gonna fall fast.
And she was in a really good state
Right.
during
She
this
was.
interview.
Everyone was.
Yep.
She looks amazing.
So then we have Jeannie Larue Faber. All right, she's speaking to a patient. She said, 3 or 4 days in the past week that she had somebody coming to her. So this is happening over and over again. There's thousands of these experiences. One man said he danced with his
Yes.
my heart.
Yeah. You know that was like a true love kind of broken
sure.
heart thing that he was just, that had to be. Going back to Jeannie, though, she talked about something kind of spooky.
Yes.
She said that she woke up and just a lot of dead people were just walking past her
know.
bed.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like
What is that about?
that is poltergeist. When all the spirits were coming down the stairs and they're just going
Very
and
poltergeist.
going, I was like, I don't know if I want to see that.
No, write that down. Let them know.
Let them know now.
Right.
Yeah,
you have to actually put the request in.
Okay,
Everyone knows that.
I only want.
I do not want to see the whole gang walking past my
That would be
bed.
so overwhelming. Honestly, just don't.
Just
And my side of my family, we have a gang and a gang and a gang.
Yes.
So everyone would be coming by. I don't want to see you yet.
oh my goodness. Okay, so you guys, we're talking about John Tangman. This is the partner. John, let me back that up so I don't confuse everyone. John is a partner to the doctor that we've been talking about that goes and visits people in hospice, right? But he had his own experience, right? His mom was in hospice and had been spending time with her during this end time, and that he had a brother, Thomas, that had passed away as a toddler, and her husband had died too. So this actually left his mom feeling really bitter and angry for a part in her life, right? And so that was really sad to hear that she had lived, with these losses and felt really bitter and angry for a long time.
She had a rough life too because she was there during the Nazi time, and then she came over to America,
Right.
and all these horrible deaths, followed.
She's
and
gone through it.
She's been through it.
She's gone through
I
it,
think I
yeah.
would be bitter too. I mean, it was a rough childhood, a rough life. Really sad.
It is sad. So she has a picture of her son that had passed as a child with her, and she would talk to this portrait.
Yes.
And she said to him, he talks back. We're having a conversation here. So I'm going to go now because I will cry. That's crazy. Like, that's just
Yeah.
an insane
Yeah.
situation. Not insane, like, I don't believe her. I think what an incredible experience.
She believed it, whether it was really happening or if it was some type of end of life delusion or hallucination. She believed it, and I think that's all that matters at that
Yes.
point.
Right.
Because it
That's
gave
what
her
gave her the
peace.
peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all we want, right? So she really needed that experience. It was really good for her.
Do you want me to take this one over?
Sure.
Because I don't think you're going to be able to get through it.
Yeah. This next this was hard because when we do these episodes, you watch them over and over and over again
Oh, yeah.
to get the notes or to talk about certain things. This was a hard
Oh yeah,
one.
yeah,
for
and I
me.
cried too. I'm gonna try not to cry, but I know you're just gonna lose it.
I'm already on it.
Yeah. So we're seeing all these older people in their late stage of life.
Right.
So we meet Jenny, and Jenny, I want to say she's maybe 14 or 15, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and she is in hospice. She's dying of brain cancer, and we are listening to the mom kind of talk about her. And it looks like to the point where I know they showed a clip in the beginning where she was sitting on a couch and she was still pretty much she didn't need assistance with walking or standing or anything like that. And I think the doctor was interviewing her, and he said that she's like, I saw my dog. I saw my black dog that died. And I just looked down and I see this like little black thing running around. And he's like, well, what did he say to you? And then she's just like, dogs don't talk.
I tell you, ridiculous.
Yeah. So then we come to this point where she's gotten a lot worse, where she probably cannot control her muscles, and she's in a, kind of like a wheelchair kind of thing. And she says, you know, my Aunt Miriam came to visit me. And he's like, why? He's like, because she's taking me up to heaven. She's going to come take me to heaven. And he's like, well, what does it look like? Like, what do you see? And he's like, it's a castle. I see a castle. And I'm playing with my Barbies, and I saw my dog there. And it's a safe place. It's a safe place. So here's this young little girl that's dying. She has her whole life ahead of her. But she has that comfort of that as well. Maybe she doesn't know any better because she hasn't really lived a life, but she's just happy that her aunt, she's going to be with her Barbies in a castle with her aunt and her dog. And the mom was sitting there, and the mom said, you know, this one day I could hear her talking in her room, and I kind of like listened for a while, and I couldn't really understand what she was saying. And I went in there and I said, who are you talking to? And she said, oh, I was just talking to God.
Yeah,
I know.
And that was like right before she passed away too.
Yeah, just days
So,
before.
wow.
I think what's important about this story too isn't just that somebody came to Jeannie to give her, you know, support during that. It's that the mother was able to hear it and take that in, because after Jeannie passes, now she has this, you know, vision of her daughter being in her castle and being happy, and what, you know, peace that would give a mother to think about this.
She actually says too, I feel better about my daughter dying. And that's like, it's a sentence that you would never even think to utter. But just knowing that she has been able to get that acceptance, you know,
That
it's like,
peace, yeah.
you could say that I feel better about my daughter dying because it's true. Because
She knows she's in a good place.
Yeah.
And this girl, you can tell, was a fighter. Like, she fought this, and it was hard to see, you know, what the drugs and everything had done to her from these treatments. And it's amazing that these kids go through that.
Right.
Just heartbreaking. It's not right. It's awful, and it makes me sad.
Yeah.
But I think that the mom has a really good view on the situation. So I'm glad that she had that experience. I think that's important. I think that's why parents and people that lose loved ones talk to psychics.
Yeah.
Right? Because y'all want that
Of course.
reassurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a cousin pass away when I was in high school. He was only 13, and he had testicular cancer.
What?
And, yeah, it was just
Wow.
it was really sad. And I remember the day that he passed away, we knew he was on hospice. Everything hurt, you know, all of his body hurt. It was really terrible. But you know, they called my cousin and I were in the same grade. They called us, and we walked to the main office, and I walked in on one end of the office and he walked in on the other, and we looked at each other and we knew, oh shit, I'm gonna cry. And we just, like, I just dropped to my knees because I knew that Adam had passed, and he knew. We just looked at each other. We knew that in that moment what we were there for, and it just was so heartbreaking. I didn't even know how to get through, like, the services, but somehow, and I can't explain this, and I've never asked her, but my cousin's mom was able to give the best, most profound eulogy and speak so clearly during this that it was like, how?
She had some type of something insight.
Yes. That's when I saw this part, it just reminded me so much of Adam, that I knew that my cousin had some type of, like, peace in her heart, and she just was like, this is what it should be like, right? She was at such peace with him passing. It was beautiful.
Oh my gosh. That's I'm so sorry you went through that. We need to take a break. Oh my gosh, but thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Easy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so at the end of this episode, right, they're leaving us with this question, is life after death?
Right.
Right. I feel like there is, maybe everyone thinks of it just in different ways, right? I think that there's a reason why we live. I do. I think that there's a purpose to all of this.
Right.
Because if not, what the fuck? Okay. Okay, because I be doing it hard all the time. So there better be a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then we are ending this, and they always show like that little clip to give you a little morsel.
Come on back.
And this is going to be the last episode. This is the sixth one. Yeah. And you kind of figure maybe what it's going to be about.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
I love it.
I love it. And I'm going to do an episode on this of just all these
like real life experiences.
Yeah. So it's a mom, and she's talking about her child, and he has a really, I didn't write his name down. He has a really...
Jalen Robinson.
No, no.
His name is Atlas.
Atlas, right. I knew I was going to say like Arrow or something like that. It's real.
Sand and water.
And he just kind of says, hey, Mom, like when I was Jalen, or when I was a kid, somebody killed me.
Right.
And she's like, what?
It's so crazy. He's like, my name was Jalen Robinson. When I was a child, someone killed me. What?
And she did the research, and she found him. Yeah. She found the story and everything.
Yeah.
What? So it's going to be reincarnation. A lot of people don't believe in reincarnation. I think in the Buddhism, I think they believe. But mainly, there is just a wide amount of stories of children remembering.
Yes.
Remembering.
Yes.
So we all believe in reincarnation. We're not privy to that life prior to us. You can maybe get there through help of a hypnotist or a medium or whatever. But the children still have that open door, I guess, where they can see both lives. And I just can't wait. It's such a good one.
It's going to be so fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it.
Right.
Oh my goodness. All right. Are y'all ready for
Whittle of the Week?
Give it, girl.
I don't even remember what it was.
Whittle. No, it's probably something.
I wanted to guess right away, but now I forget.
Well, it was a good one. Yes. It
was the V.
The V. And I think if you really think it through, everybody knows the answer.
I've tried and I can't think about it. I just kind of I'm not going to think about it. I can't think. I can't think.
All right. So first of all, we called Hilda out, and she was quick to say, hold the fucking phone, guys, because she did answer.
Oh, she did?
Like, Hilda, you better answer this. And she was like, whoa. She took screenshots, and she was like, look, I answered it, you guys.
Did she did? The penis?
The letter E.
Yeah. And she got it right?
See it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she got it right. She answered it. Okay. But I don't know who, the three of us are all involved in this, so we don't know who's checking what. But apparently she did message.
Oh, Hilda.
She got it. She's badass.
It's hard to set up Instagram with notifications because your phone will just blow up all day long. So you can't have the notifications set. You have to just go in and you have to read them.
So she sent a message. Hilda, I'm going to talk to you straight, girl. So I checked the messages. I saw you send something, but it has said that picture couldn't be seen anymore.
Oh.
I thought she was sending us like a fun meme because.
Oh, maybe then she did answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does that sometime if it's from a private account.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe she was sending me nude photos. I didn't know. But Facebook said,
Hilda,
Yeah.
Go ahead and send those photos again.
Okay, we want to see the nude
we want to see them.
photos.
Send
I
them
didn't
to
get
our
them the
email
first
this time. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. So anyway, the question was, what does every woman have that starts with a V and she can use to get what she wants?
Well, I'm thinking vagina, Bob. I'm going to go with vagina.
No, it's not vagina.
Wrong.
I have
A voice?
victory.
A voice.
Yay!
Oh, it's a voice.
Oh, that
a
is
voice.
like woman power.
Use that, baby.
That's so easy.
It's
and
too easy.
I'm just not even.
I know.
I can't
'cause
believe that.
The mind goes straight to dirty birdie. We're dirty birdies at heart.
Dark.
Well, it's fun. It's a good time. I love it. Okay.
All right. I have one that's not dirty at all.
Oh,
surprise.
Why are we mixing it up? Why are we doing that?
Why would you do that to me?
I kind of like it. Of course, I'm the prude in the group, so.
Okay, we're all different.
What is so fragile that the moment you utter its name, you break it?
Oh, I know what it is already.
You're good. See, it's because it's not dirty.
I know it.
Because I was going to say penis. My answer is penis.
My answer is penis.
Okay, so we'll think about this Whittle of the Week. Send us messages. Hilda, don't send a picture unless it's a nude. Okay, good job, you guys. I love this episode so much.
Yeah.
I love it. Everyone can check us out on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, all the things. We love to hear from you. Be a badass. Check us out on iTunes and leave us a review. It takes 2 seconds. Send us an email anytime, handcuffsandsage@gmail.com. We have a website, handcuffsandsagepodcast.com, and you can support us. You can help your badass ladies over here because we need it constantly.
Right.
We have a Patreon page. There's 3 different levels. You guys can pick, how you want to support us, but you get fun swag and episodes.
Yeah, so we just released our second Spooky Ookie. It's Rebecca's story. So if you are a patron, you have access to that at this time. You'll have probably about another 3 weeks before it's released out into the world. So yeah, you're VIP as well because you get advanced listening time.
VIP
awesome.
Spooky Ookie Tales.
Right. And if you are a VIP and you want to come on and you want to tell us one of your true paranormal, true crime, survivor stories, send us a message on any of the things. We'll get it. And we'll have you on and we'll have you tell it.
Yay! Yeah. Oh, good job, you guys. Ooh. Are you ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
And remember,
We have questions!
I have to do that again. Edit. Sorry. And just like you, we have questions! I need some answers.
Okay.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Handcuffs and Sage.
Music is Leave Now by We Are Wasted and cover art by Megan Winchester.
Be a badass and do what you want. Until next time.